Hey, YouTube, Giga-Bites TV folks. I'm here live with Adam from Tabletop Mini, and he is also working on this amazing release project, GameFor. And basically, it is an app where you can find games wherever you are. So what you do is you download the app, Play Store, and the what's it called?
App Store.
App Store,
sure.
Right. The Play Store and the App Store, and then you go and play and find people. You can look for groups. You can set up your own groups that you have. You can find stores that are nearby. So why don't you go ahead and tell us how you started and got the idea of GameFor, and then we'll go from there.
So we're a small company, and we do app development and websites and things like that for normal business, normie type clients.
Right.
And but we're also all tabletop gamers. There's 6 of us. We're a small little company in the middle of Wisconsin, and we knew that there was kind of a need for this in tabletop gaming. When you're playing video games and you want to play multiplayer, you click multiplayer and then it hooks you up with a bunch of people. We don't have that in tabletop gaming.
Right.
So we wanted to make an app that did that type of thing. We really thought that was going to be a good idea. And because we've got our background in app development, web design, database, all that stuff, we knew we had the resources and the know-how to make it happen. So we launched it back just before Christmas, so we're not quite 6 months old yet. And it's been growing pretty well. We're up over 17,000 registered users. We've got 800 different groups or so in the groups and clubs portion. We've got 300 so registered stores, verified stores, and our database in the store finder is over 6,200 stores worldwide. So no matter where you go in the world, if you travel a lot, whether it's for work or for fun or whatever, if you want to find the closest local game store, you can just pick up the app and go.
Yeah, I saw it. I watched your channel all the time. So as soon as you put up a new video and it said, "What is GameFor?" I thought, "Oh, Giga-Bites needs to get verified."
Yeah, and you guys were one of the very first stores that was verified when we first launched the verification stuff for stores. And so I mean, and it makes sense. You guys being like one of the biggest stores out there and like super proactive and doing all this. And I think we've been finding that the stores that are reaching out to us very frequently are the stores that are a little bit more proactive about their events and a little bit more proactive about all that kind of stuff, because Facebook is what a lot of people still use, and that's fine, but I know that there's a lot of store owners out there that have 1,000 likes on their page, and when they post an event, 80 people get to see it. And then immediately afterwards, they're like, Facebook sends them an email and says, "Hey, for $20, we'll send it to 200 more people." And you're like, but 1,000 people said they wanted to hear my stuff,
Right.
and that's their business model, and that's their thing. Ours is, if you post an event, whether you're a store, whether you're just a regular user who wants to do a demo or whatever, it will be shown to the people who would be looking for it in the region, and there's filtering, so if you don't want to see, I don't know, let's say you don't want to see war games, because you're very different than I am, great, you can do that, you can filter it so they don't show. But if you want to see war games and the radius is set to your area and there's a wargaming event, we're going to show it to you. There's no algorithm, so.
Right. So it's literally anything in the radius. There's the 4 sub buttons. So when you download the app and you open it up, you do have to sign up, right?
Actually, you don't. If you just want to look at what's going on in your area, you don't. You can just even get in as a guest. So you won't be able to sign up for events or send people messages or do any of that stuff. That'll ask you to start an account. But if you just want to download it and take a look and see what's in your area for either the gaming events, the looking for players, which is kind of like looking for players is like that 3x5 card stuck to the cork board at the back of the store that says, "Hey, we're looking for a cleric on Wednesday nights, call Larry."
Right.
You can look at those. If you want to then respond to one of them, then you need to sign up. But if you just want to just kick the tires and look around a little bit, it's totally up to you. Just download it and go from there. Right down at the bottom on the front page where it asks you whether you want to sign up or log in, there's a check it out as guest, and then you can go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So it launched in, you said, Christmas, late December, right? What is the plans for the next year or so?
So right now, we're going to be adding in a couple different things. It's right now everything's free, and it will always pretty much all the features that we've got for the most part right now all will stay free, but we do need to monetize in some way to pay for servers and junk like that. Right. So we're going to be adding in some advertising. Now, one of the benefits of advertising is that some of the advertising will be of a very directed nature. So it won't just all be like, oh, here's a Geico ad or whatever, Candy Crush. It will also be stuff like, game stores in your local area. They'll be able to advertise directly to the types of gamers that they want to advertise to in the directed area of the country or world. Publishers have been reaching out to us about, hey, we want to advertise in your app to people who, we make board games, we want to advertise to people who like board games. We make war games, we want to advertise to people who like war games, that kind of stuff. So that's coming before the end of the summer. We're going to be adding in search functionality. We're going to be adding in a lot of more features as well. Some things are smaller incremental changes. The search function is going to be big. We're adding more features for the store owners, because store owners, if they want to get involved, again, it's free for store owners to get verified. When they enter their events, they don't have to do it with their thumbs on the phone. They have an actual web-based store portal. We are working towards building a web-based, kind of stripped down, but web-based experience of the app too, for people who either don't have smartphones or people who maybe have like a smartphone that can't support the app and things like that, like older smartphones, whatever. But we're working on that as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What is something that would really help grow? Like people sharing it? What are people just using it? What is something that we can get more people involved?
We've been telling people we would just really like it if they would let their gaming clubs know about it, their gaming groups. There's a lot of group and club functionality in there. A lot of board game groups specifically, but other types of groups, they currently use Meetup. We give many, if not most of the same features that are useful for gamers in comparison to Meetup, but at a third of the price. If you're a subscriber group, it's $5 a month for the entire group, not per person or anything like that. So getting your group involved is a really good way, and there's a free tier where you can start out as long as you get 10 members or less, where you can kind of get used to it and see what it's like and all that kind of stuff. Talking to your local store. If your store's not currently verified, they can be verified for free. They can start putting their events in there, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different things that are going to be really, I think, beneficial. And just sharing it, letting other gamers know about it as well is also a big deal.
Nice.
Yeah.
You had talked before about deep linking. How does that work?
So deep linking is a feature that's coming. So what that allows someone to do is that, let's say you wanted to make an event in GameFor and then you wanted to share it via an email or on Facebook or in Twitter. Right now, there's no way to make that link go out to something that you can put into any of those platforms. Deep linking will allow there to be an actual web-based link. And then if you're on Facebook on your phone and you see someone posts an event that's going to be in GameFor, you click on it, it will go and try to load the try to load the GameFor app and then go to that page. If you don't have the GameFor app, it'll take you to your respective app store and say, hey, would you like to download the app? That kind of thing. But if you're on desktop, then part of the plan is then when you click on it, it will actually take you to like I said, a stripped down web version of that listing, so you can still see it and kind of share it and go from there. So that's also coming pretty soon as well too, and more notifications. Right now we have notifications like if you say you're going to an event, you'll get notified the day before to remind you. But we're also saying things like we're adding notifications for when one of your favorite stores posts a new event, or when your group posts a new event, or when there's new messages in your group, so that you can keep track of that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of little incremental features that we keep. I think that probably in the next 2 weeks, we are probably doing 2 releases. We just did a big release with version 3.0, but we're doing a couple other small ones, and we're constantly upgrading.
Right. There was a previous, was it Adepticon, or what was the one where you had the special? No, it was Tabletop Gaming Day.
It was
International Tabletop. Tell us about that.
Day. Yeah, International Tabletop Day is put on by Geek and Sundry, and we reached out to them, and we had a couple of on Skype meetings, and basically during International Tabletop Day, leading up to International Tabletop Day, if you posted an event on the 28th of April, which was International Tabletop Day, it would ask you, is this an International Tabletop Day. Is this an International Tabletop Day event? And then if you checked the little box and said yes, then it's like own sort of special call out kind of graphics as you were going through the list of cards in the database and looking at the local events. And then that way people could be like, oh, this is an ITTD event. Cool, I want to check that out. And then there was also a link then on the page where it would then say, you'd click on it and it would tell you what is International Tabletop Day, learn more, take you to their website, all that kind of stuff. So we're working towards doing that again, hopefully next year with those guys at Geek and Sundry. They wrote a big article about us actually just before International Tabletop Day, which was really nice. Yeah, that brought in a bunch of traffic as well. But we also are looking at potentially other kind of partners or groups and things like that. we've talked with some publishers about when their demo team does a demo at a store, maybe they can have some sort of special call-out logo or something along those lines. So yeah, we've got a lot of different options like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things with tabletop industry is attention, right?
Yeah.
So with Giga-Bites, we have a little over 7,000 likes on our Facebook page, got a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube, and that's growing. Our Twitch is growing as well. But, starting small, as it does. But the people who like a particular game are going to be looking for that game. So if they look for an event for Infinity, then, okay, I look for Infinity, and then I find Giga-Bites Café when I look for events on Facebook, right? Would GameFor be able to be like search engine optimized for overall web traffic?
Well, what we're looking for is down the road, once we have that kind of simplified, you know how like Instagram has a website, but it's really kind of like real low key and everything? Like that's kind of what we're looking at down the road for the web version when we get to that point. So that'll help with some search engine optimization, but we're also looking at adding a new feature into GameFor going forward where you'll be able to keyword search. So if you want to play Gaslands, you type in Gaslands, you're going to find events for Gaslands, you're going to find looking for players listings for Gaslands, you might find stores that say they sell Gaslands in their description, and so that, so then you'll be able to find a lot of different things all built into that. That's kind of what another feature we're hoping to do by potentially the end of the year, so
Yeah, that's a big one for us because I know when I'm searching for, hey, I want to play 40K, or maybe if I'm looking for a product there, I want to know which stores have it, just in case. Because if I go to one, I say in Cincinnati, things are kind of spread out. So one store might be 45 minutes from another one, or I live half an hour away from pretty much any store. So I'll travel half an hour, and I realized I couldn't. You can call. But it's nice to know that they've got a specific line that you're looking for, and you just do a quick search and then go on your way. That's super cool. I'm trying to think if there's any features. As you're watching this, it might not be live, but it might be on a replay. You can put in the comments some features that you might find useful, and if it's something that the team can accomplish and it might be good as part of the package, then they'll put it into the consideration and everything. Because everything is a development process. You have your design originally where you say, what the heck are we doing? What can we do? And then the development part is, okay, can we do it?
We sharpened our axe for probably almost 2 years, getting ready for the launch, and then we came up with as many different kinds of features and things like that we could come up with, and then we wrote everything onto a big whiteboard, and then we had kind of a matrix of how hard is this to do versus how easy is this to do, and how useful is this, how not so useful. And you kind of place everything on this big matrix, and then you draw this line, and you're like, this is how we're going to launch with these features. And then you understand that as you move out, you kind of go that way. It's just basically a software development trick that we've been using for years, and it really helps to, there's things that when we launched, people were like, yeah, but I really want you to do that, and we're like, and it's coming, but we can't do everything at once. Like every piece of software you ever used these days didn't launch final, it launched where it could launch, and then more and more features get added on over time. Back in the old day, like when we used to buy games when I was a kid for your computer, there was no patch. There was no, like it had to work out of the box the first time and it wasn't going to be upgraded, you know what I mean? Now everything's constantly kind of an upgrade kind of process, which is nice because then you can kind of start to follow where the traffic goes. And when people want this versus that, well, then you kind of move towards that. So
it's like early access games on Steam or any of those things where they have alpha releases or beta releases. One of the big things that I like about GameFor is the safety feature. So the fact that at the moment, when you have a looking for group or anything, you need to go to a verified location, which is you guys have verified as safe. So game stores, public places, etc. You're not just going to, as you said, I think Larry the Axe Murderer's house.
Exactly. No, it's one of those deals where when we launched, every event had to be in a game store. Because, and some people pushed back and said, yeah, but I don't play at my local game store. And we're like, we understand that, but with the local game store, it's a safe place that's public and people know about it. Now, that being said, one of the new features we added to groups and clubs is that if you become a subscriber group and club, and like I said, subscriber groups and clubs, it's $5 a month, you can verify, let's say you play in a church basement or you play at a pub or anything like that, as long as it's a public place, you can go in the app and say, this is the place that we play, and then we'll check it out to make sure that it is actually an Applebee's or whatever. And then it'll be saved into your listing of locations. So if you want to have an event at the pub, then you just click that event, and then it'll automatically put it in there. If you want to have, as a group though, or a group or club, if you want to have a totally like private event to just group members, you can have that anywhere. So if you want to have a cookout over at your house and also play a bunch of games and stuff like that, as long as it's just club members, you can have any kind of private sort of setup like that way. It can't be public. You can't have random folks showing up to your house, which could be safe or unsafe in either direction, really. That's the kind of thing that we're really very cognizant of. We don't want any kind of like trouble that way.
I imagine if you do it, it would have to be something where they have to they're like, I accept and acknowledge that, But at the same time, it's much easier to say, go to a safe place. If you're using the app, go to a safe, acknowledged, public place.
Exactly, yeah.
That's great. Are there any other features on the safety regards that you can think of? Or?
Well, we don't really have like a friends list. We don't really have the ability. If you're a member of the app, if you don't post anything like a looking for players, and you don't host any events or anything like that, people can't just like search around to try to find people in the local area and then maybe send them a message that way. So if you want to be very, very opaque, if you wanted to be very like, I don't want to say hidden, but you want to lurk a little bit and maybe find an event you want to go to, it works out really well that way, because there were a couple other apps that kind of went down this road that what we're doing, but what they were doing was basically saying, look, here's a bunch of gamers who live near you, why don't you make some friends? And that's kind of tough for a lot of gamers. If you tell me, hey, there's a Star Wars Catan game going on at the local shop, and I'm like, I really want to go to that, then I'm more likely to go. But if you just told me, hey, here's a bunch of gamers who live near you, why don't you make some friends? That's a little bit of a tougher call, because a lot of us, really, frankly, can be kind of introverted, and it's sort of difficult. So bringing about we're going to talk about this and we're going to get you to come to this event because you want to go to the event, and then you're going to meet some people while you're there, but that's not the main structure of why you're getting together. It works out really well, actually. So, yeah.
And your tagline is basically connecting gamers to gamers?
Connecting tabletop gamers, yeah.
Tabletop gamers.
Yep.
And I know we say gamers because we're in the industry, but it's tabletop gamers to the general public,
Yeah.
Otherwise, gamers is video games like Call of Duty and stuff, But it's cool. Like, I like the idea that you have it as an event-based app, rather than just, you could have it as a collection-based. Like, I have XYZ games, and then I'm connected with people who have XYZ games.
Yeah.
That gets a little bit.
A lot of people, when we first tell them about the app, it's for connecting tabletop gamers, they say, it's Tinder for gamers. And we're always like, no, it's about finding events and stores and all that kind of stuff in your local area, and then you will meet some gamers.
Right.
But we're not just trying to connect gamers to gamers directly, usually. Right. Yeah, it's more of a, in the guise of like, hey, this is an event, you like to go to events, why don't you play this game, and maybe you'll meet some people and make some friends that way. And we think it's a good plan.
Yeah. I'm thinking for next year, one not issue that I had, but for the events, it's this huge book, and there's a lot of events going on.
Here, you mean?
Yeah. There's dozens per hour, every single hour of each day. So it would be great for me to have what GameFor has, which is where you select one of the categories you want, and then you can maybe put in a time zone that you'd like, and then it'll auto-populate that list, and then you can click the ones you're interested in and go from there. And then you can reserve, because for me, you have these generic tickets on in here, and they look like this, a little generic. The app, you click it and it charges your Google or something.
Yeah, we want to do, actually, because we've had a lot of people reach out to us and say, hey, I have a small local convention.